recording. I think.
Yay!
I am. Welcome. This is Elsie Mychols from Fabulous Playground and Lovejoy Life, and
Angela Estes, Angie C, Cheerleader of Life over on Facebook, and Angie Seeable over on YouTube. And
Sweet.
Just Angela Estes.
There's some really exciting things that you've been up to.
I'm glad to hear it. I just feel goofy today. I just want to...
Share. Bring the goofiness. Everybody. I want everybody to be clear of any stress, feel gratitude, and if you want some goofiness, breathe it in. Angela's got enough to share.
Always. You don't even know all the stuff lately, because I have another one coming up that when I started joining the different things around the same time as Joe Vitale, I joined a John Azareth group, and I was doing a lot of lessons over there, which I still want to get back to, some really good stuff. But some of the people I met through that, I've been watching what they've been doing, and one of them has been selling this one cosmetic. And I keep hearing about it. And finally they did an ad that made me think of my friend Art, right? Because Art is constantly fussing with his skin. He will actually, he's a audio engineer, right? At Audio Video Center, right? The other guy I work with, two-person business. But he will burn moles off with his soldering iron.
Wow.
Yeah. I've actually let him do it. I let him do it to the one on my face. I'm a
really?
very trusting person. Yes, I did. And
what was
don't let people do that. It hurts.
Okay. It hurts. Hurt. Is this permanent?
You can hear the little fat or whatever that's in it. You can hear it kind of like
sizzle.
Yeah. It's just cool.
So is there any kind of joy you're getting from this? Like, do you like that? Like,
removing it with the soldering iron? I got joy from the fact I was brave enough to do it.
Okay.
But after that, forget it. No, it's like, okay, soldering iron, no more.
Wow.
So, since he's always fussing with his skin, they had this picture of him, an older man in their ad and what he had done with their product. And I thought, oh, okay, I should try this. And then I thought, well, I have my videos, right? And my videos, I'm actually not all over the place, but I know I can be more all over the place and still be possibly entertaining and actually possibly useful. So what I did is I got the intro package, and I'm going to follow their instructions, and I'm going to point. I even took pictures already, but I might have to take them again, and people can follow. And it's like, okay, does this product work? Well, you tell me.
And also, Angela, if you wouldn't mind, if you could kind of help me man the questions. If anybody has questions on what we're talking about, kind of thing.
For some reason, that's not showing on mine.
Oh, great.
It did last time.
Where's my magnifying glass? Oh, hey,
it's
look, you're strange. On. Oh, I see. Oh, this is so fun. You know what? I just developed a new toy. Do you remember?
Cool.
And I see Angela and I see Randy. Wait, you can't see what I'm holding? Right? That's going to be my new thing. Yay.
Romper Room's they're going to sue you.
But this is necessity. What she had was like imagination. This is so cool. Divine inspiration. Take it up with the man upstairs. Yeah, see how confident I get when God gets involved.
That's it. So I suppose you were talking about Empire Kred, though? Which I never know if I'm pronouncing that right.
So, Empire Kred. Empire Kred is another social media platform, right? But it's but my take is it's a stocks and bonds kind of theme to help us find each other and network and get more viewers to our blogs and our videos, things like that. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You know what else? It also gives you some really nice tools to see. I'm kind of weird that way. I've just always been, I got my start in social media with Twitter, and then on Twitter, Demi Moore was tweeting songs, right? And she was using a platform called Blip FM, right? And I thought, oh, it's songs. Oh my God, because I'm a terrible, terrible music junkie, huge music junkie, almost all types, right? And so I did Blip, and it was doing Blip. I thought, well, if Demi Moore could do it, I could do it, right? And so yeah, I became a Blip VJ or DJ or whatever they call it on the internet. And, you know, I had a lot of followers, and I learned a lot about social media and how to interact with people and what people want. People want respect. People want credit. People want attention. It's just like the real, you know, the outer world, right? Yeah. So I knew, since I got, you know, so many people listening to me over on Blip, the minute I saw Empire Kred, I thought, wait a minute, this is like my game. It's like they wrote this for me. So you've got a couple things going on. You've got the missions, which is part of how you can increase, or you can promote friends, or, you know, you can
traffic, increase traffic.
Yeah. There's so many ways you can do it.
Cool.
So it's measuring your appearance on the internet, essentially, is what it's doing. The outreach.
I was going to say, do you feel a lot of people are using that and don't really have anything to promote? They're just doing it for fun. Yeah, yes. See, and that's where I feel like
there's
in my waist.
Wide range. Wait a minute, what?
But from these people, like, I feel like, you know, my time is valuable, and I'm like, okay, someone's investing in me, so I got to invest in them. But they look like they're not even doing anything. But then I think, but they're still investing in me, so I'm getting something from them. So there is still something of value, right? You would say.
Oh, absolutely. See, okay. I don't know. I tend to look at all of it differently, and I think that's partly why I do pretty well. I get more than I would expect in terms of followers or my price and everything. I don't think about it in terms of what. How do I put this? I do, and I've seen this as a tip. I do invest as much as I can in anybody who invests in me. Now, I also don't feel guilty if I end up, generally one of my lowest tiers is generally 50 shares, right? Are you still there? You look frozen. Okay, no, you're not frozen. But
I do good frozen face. Sorry.
But my lowest tier is generally 50 shares. It can be lower. If you buy 10, I'll match you for 10. You know what I mean? If you're lower, yeah. I'll match you lower. Unless there's something about that person that, you know, I want. Now, what I look for in somebody, one, you want a really high dividend. If you get a really high dividend, that's going to give you that much more money to spend on buying other people and for your missions. And you can't feel guilty about not necessarily putting a whole lot in somebody who doesn't have a high dividend and putting more in a high dividend, because that person who bought you that has the lower dividend, right? Let's say they bought you for 4,000 shares and you only bought them for 50, right? But they're also expecting you to win, right? They're investing in you because they think you're going to do good. So whatever strategies you have to do good or do well, you should do them.
Because I don't have a strategy. Okay. I don't come from that place.
And it's because I trade stocks. And so I can look at it from the shareholder benefit. Yeah. I can look at it from the employee benefit. And this one, yeah, you have to look in terms of, you want to always be kind with them, but you don't necessarily have to match them, because you're promoting yourself, and you're promoting yourself is promoting them because they're a shareholder, which in turn helps them.
And I can't go over a certain amount because I guess I'm not worth enough yet or something. So it's like some people will invest 4,000. I try to do 300, and it's like, no.
Really?
Too high.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or I'm a newbie or something.
See, now that's another thing I did. The minute when I found that, and I decided I wanted to do it, and I recognized it was something I could enjoy. And see, and this ties directly in a different way to self-worth. Because, okay, if Empire Kred and clout and all those things are measuring your worth on the internet, right? And we're essentially trading each other's worth in a way, right? how you treat yourself, how I treated myself starting that game. It's kind of like the story I tell about going on that cruise, right? And I bought the highest drink platform for the cruise. I didn't buy the highest drink platform for the cruise because I have to have the best gin, or that I even need an alcoholic drink every day or night or whatever, right? It was for that feeling of affluence where you could just ask for something, not worry about it, and it's handed to you. And so I did the same thing in the game. When I started that game, I paid enough to be a leader, and I paid enough to have some of those, I don't know what they call them, empires or little E's, the currency, right? I made sure I got enough currency where I could buy people back for a while. And I wanted to get enough currency and enough momentum going where it could be self-fulfilling. And self-fulfilling is make that dividend earning every day, be able to pay for whatever missions you want to do, and be able to start source, how you can invest in those other people. But it's going to take a little bit of like seed money. It's going to take a certain attitude, and a little bit of seed money to play at that level right off the bat, which I didn't even know you could get blocked like what you're saying, but it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. They're going to have little things you're going to have to...
So what do you feel? You're so cute. What do you feel you're getting out of this? I mean, besides for it being fun, and you're really good at it.
Well, see, one, I always go on a trust thing, and I'll agree. I mean, it totally. I don't want to say screws me over, because no, it doesn't screw me over. It benefits in weird ways later on. You just don't know what they are, and so I've gone on this path of personal development, right? I got coaching training, and I'm always adding more to the mix. But in terms of being a coach, I don't know. I do really good at these videos. I like interviewing and talking back and forth with you. I love this little talk show idea, but I never know where I'm going, and I just have to kind of trust it'll get somewhere good. And so that came across my path. I enjoy it. I'm doing really well at it. So one, I suppose I kind of look at it that's enough reward right there. But I don't know. I feel things in the air happening. It's like I have changed too much from the Angela I previously knew, that it's like I know things are changing around me, and so something good is coming from it. Dang.
That's really great.
One thing that did come from it, and I can kind of say different tips that I do. Okay, always buy back, right? Do the missions, yes, and do the missions where they let you, where they give you the money to buy some of their shares. You should look for those a lot. That helps you give a little step up. Well, the missions, look for the ones that are invest missions, because in the invest missions, they actually give you the currency to buy them.
I have to admit that I get in that scarcity mode, and I'm like, they're going to make me buy this many. I know.
Exactly, but it's not out of your money. They're giving you the money, and every time they do it, they're giving you the money.
Thinking.
Huh?
I'm not even thinking. You're absolutely right. Duh.
They do, and the amount. I used to think that you only got the amount that it says, right, for doing it, and that you just bought their shares. But no, that amount is what you'll have left in currency after the currency that they gave you buys the shares. So particularly the people who are buying you, go look at all their missions, and that's a way of helping you buy them back. Now, I do try to do it along with buying, it's like, say they gave you enough money to buy 37 shares. If I can at least take it to 40 with my own money, that's like a good faith back. See, I am stepping up.
So, can you explain to us what a mission is?
A mission.
What is your mission? And then what are your missions?
I tell you, right now my missions are, you can go look at one of my videos. I think it's, which one was it? It was the one about how to turn bad memories into good memories, about the idea that you only remember the last time you remembered it. And then the other one sends you to my Facebook page. I think that Facebook page is going to be a standard. I think I'm going to have it a lot. But I think I will send people to my Google Plus profile and some of the others. The missions are essentially, they will give you a certain amount of currency for doing something. You're not technically allowed to make them do anything like, say, you can't make them take an action. You can really simply only send them someplace, is what the word is. The thing I don't understand about missions is when you write one, it must be very, very, very sensitive to what you say, because you write that mission, and I've had them come in as A's, right? And so it grades your mission before you send it out and tells you how good of a mission it is, right? And so when I write a mission, they always come in either an A or a D. And I've had the same mission come in as both. And so far, I haven't broken the code in what was the word that took it from a D to an A. But I don't release them until I get an A. If it says D, then I just delete the mission. You're over. They seem to like, of course, the more currency you have in there, the more likely you're going to attract. You are going to attract a lot of people that are just going to take the money and run and not even say a word or anything. But,
I just get thank yous, and I'm like, oh, okay. Because my mission was a video. And it's like, okay, now what are you going to follow that up with? And I really didn't have a plan. And I really think blueprints are so important. But Angela, sometimes I get so impatient. It's like, I want a mission. I want a mission. I want to be, but where's the continued value, right? What am I worth?
Why'd you and you
where's my validation?
Here's the question, though. Here's the thing, though. As somebody who's gone through personal development, as somebody who's had clients, who's been a client, who's been anything around it, it's like the number one thing. Nobody has any, well, I shouldn't say nobody has any self-worth, but everybody goes through places where they don't. Seemingly.
A big one is comparing ourselves to others. Sometimes, like, I've been on such a roll where I'm just doing the best that I can, doing what fulfills my spirit. But there's been a couple of times where I kind of took this other path, and I went, I'm going down that road. I'm like, how come she's so much younger and she's so much further than me, and things like that. And I'm like, and I keep forgetting, like, oh God, what am I doing?
Well, she's younger because she was born later.
No, but why is she smarter than me, right? Why is she smarter than me? Why is she more talented than me? And she's got extra years.
Go for the and it's really bad quoting people who commit suicide, but the Kurt Cobain thing, right? That wanting to be somebody else is kind of an insult. Right. If you're going to be them, who's going to be you?
Right. Ooh, that's really powerful. Yeah. And I know with Kurt Cobain, like he was, oh man, there's a guy, talk about a vision board. I guess it was in his journal, and he had a plan, and he was so aligned with it. But again, there's so many other factors in this that I can't really go into. I wasn't there, but it's like once he got there, it crumbled.
Right. Although I haven't ever studied it enough. Kurt Cobain is one of the ones where I would like to believe the conspiracy. So there are a few of those where, I'd like to, that'd be nice. That'd be the nicer outcome. I'm thinking that he didn't do it to himself, and that Courtney, that's the conspiracy.
I am kind of with you on that one. She's funny.
It's kind of twisted, though. I'd rather think that somebody was murdered than killed themselves.
Well, there is also the fact that with most of these kind of suicides, I believe that it was something else. It was the drug. I mean, obviously, they're not of complete sound body and mind. Is that how you say it? Of mind, body. Well, anyway, they weren't themselves. They were being influenced by a chemical. So it killed them.
Well, no, I actually go with the other, and there's a really beautiful Abraham Hicks one out there. I actually have it on a DVD. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube, but it's a woman whose son has committed suicide, and she's on the hot seat. And the Abraham Hicks perspective is that every death is a suicide.
Right, I've heard that.
On a spiritual level, you've decided you're done.
Right. So your soul plan.
Right.
Right.
And so the suicides, in that particular instance, they looked at it as her son finding a way to put her in the vortex and make her, because giving her a reason to be there, because only when you're in the vortex or in alignment with your own spirit or the best that you can. See, you've got to look at the beginning when they said, Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, channeling Abraham, right? When I first listened to the, it's almost like a comic book story or something, the origin story. But when I first listened to how that started, right? Esther was in love. They were newly married. She was flying as high as you ever feel. You remember that feeling when you're in love and everything is right in the world and you were a princess and he's a prince and just nothing could go wrong and you're so happy. That's the place she was in when she channeled him, right? Or channeled them, right? The first time. So that's the place you need to be if you're somebody interested in somehow talking with those who have moved on, they've gone off the rainbow bridge or transitioned or however you want to look at it. You need to be in that place, in the vortex, whatever, in order to communicate with them. So their conclusion was that he had done it to give her a reason to stay in the vortex and be happier in her life.
Wow.
It's interesting because the theory is, too, that you decide a lot of what you're going to do and what you're going to encounter, the good and the bad, before you ever get here. So the bad, instead of looking and saying, how come she's doing it and I'm not doing it, you look at it sometimes you are just the instrument in other people's, and sometimes they're the instrument in yours. And so sometimes you're going through that time where you're just helping others. And so be happy.
Right. It's like there was someone I used to be so envious of, and now she's like more like someone I can study, because that's all it was to begin with. There were things I liked, but I couldn't be. I was too busy being in the mindset of I can't have, I can't get, and I was going, so.
An interesting, another one I'm starting to play with the Abraham Hicks model is, okay, so by that model, when you don't feel good, right, when you're feeling bad emotionally, you're in disagreement with that plan you made before you were born of what you were going to do, right? Your opinion and how you're feeling about it is against how your inner self feels, right? So I started thinking about that, and I'm starting to look back at times when I had, it's like, it's gold to do that now. You know what I mean? It's just gold when you're in the moment to say, oh, I need to turn this around. What is it? 17 seconds, I think, in that method. You have to turn it around and feel a little bit better. But it's becoming interesting because I'm starting to look back at old relationships or old times where I suffered, and then looked at, okay, so I suffered. What does that mean that my inner, my source being, okay, so if I was suffering, how was that, what was that position in disagreement with? You know what I mean? Seeing what that opposite was. And it's starting to be kind of interesting.
Wow. That's another whole level of clearing.
Kind of,
just loving those, and you're going back. Have you gone as far as childhood?
Well, see, now I'm a cheater in terms of childhood. I was diagnosed with PTSD from my childhood, so I do see a therapist. I'm not really sure why I'm still seeing the therapist. He's a good friend, though. But I mean,
it sounds like you're helping him.
Well, recently I did tell him he was going on vacation, and I said, well, so what are you going to do on vacation? And he was going to play a lot of golf, and he was going to go to bed early and take naps. And I said, go to bed early and take naps. You can do here. You don't have to go. You don't have to fly to Mexico for that. So yes, once in a while. But for the PTSD, I had EMDR, which is you'd have to Google it. But it's something scientists discovered with an eye movement thing, but it's a rhythm thing. I think harmonics pulls into it as well. But what they did is we discussed I think I really only had like one incident from my childhood that just got in there and made me, and so it could get triggered, and it just colored it's funny how that could just really color how you feel about everything in life, way more than you realize. And for me, it's like these layers of the onion. As I change one thing, I realize some of my behaviors are still, all of a sudden I'll go, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Is this really, does this really support how I want to be? But so the EMDR, they went back over that particular incident, and I had these paddles in my hands that would do this rhythmic thing. And oh my God, as you're doing it, it triggers all these emotions. You could cry, you'll have little aches and pains in your body. But when it was over, it felt like and let's say that his office is say a mile from my house. It felt like I could skip all the way home. It felt like felt like helium balloons were holding me up slightly on the upper body. But so I think if you're diagnosed with PTSD and you have really, really, really strong things, particularly from your childhood, certainly from war, anything like that. But I mean, certain childhoods are war. You know what I mean? In a certain way. Yeah. Even down to, I can say from my own childhood, this is the level of abusive, right? I was never really hit, I've never beaten anything like that. And it was more emotional, sketchy, that sort of way. But I did witness one time my mother threw hot coffee just out, in my dad's face. So that level. And I mean, when you're around that sort of thing and you're a child and
watching reactions like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're watching reactions like that. Frequently, if they had a fight like that, they would actually drag me into it. What do you think, Angela? Who's
Angela?
Right? That's fair. But so, childhood can be a little bit of a war. And if you have something like that, I highly recommend find yourself a qualified PTSD EMDR therapist. And it jumps. See, if you missed out and you didn't realize that you maybe needed a little bit more help until you're a little bit older than you little squirt, the EMDR is quicker. It's maybe cheating because you're getting the help, but the cognitive therapy, behavior therapy and all those take a lot longer. And and I think it's really exciting. I think they're discovering, like with the harmonics, the EMDR, there's a lot of things in like that I think they're discovering, and you go 10, 20 years down the road and things are going to look a lot different.
So does this have anything to do with, when you mention harmonics, you're talking about like what's going on in our brains, just reconnecting?
Well, and the beats that they use, the beats.
Okay. This is not temporary.
Pardon?
Or is it only a temporary?
No, the EMDR is definitely, the EMDR result is permanent. So I would say the harmonics is probably permanent as well. So that it should, with the harmonics, let's say I'm using that right now for my morning meditation every day. I will sometimes do another meditation somewhere, maybe right after it or sometime later in the day. But I'm using that one every day. And I've actually, do you hear the beats in there? Because now that I use the headphones, I can hear the beats. And yeah, there's something about those little beats that's very similar to the EMDR. Very, very similar. So that, since I know the EMDR, it's going to, with the beats, it helps it rewrite the emotion to the incident.
Okay. It rewrites.
It rewrites. Well, and what it is because when they do it, you've got the paddles in your hand and you're describing and they get you to a picture. And you see this picture of whatever the bad thing was. And by the time they're through, they'll ask you to see the picture. And I had some where I had just this black space. There was no picture anymore. It's gone.
This sounds like NLP a little bit too.
A little bit.
Okay. I was just thinking how changing the picture, taking a picture.
Well, but they're not. See, it's the beats in your hands, and what they'll do is they'll tell you to tell them what, whatever, you talk about the incident and you tell them whatever you see, how do you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? Same thing, NLP, very much. But then you hit this point where they tell you just to focus on whatever, depending on what you just said. And then they do something with the machine and you sit there quietly focusing on that as those things make little, clicky noises in your hands and go back and forth from one hand to the other. So is it like pardon me?
Is it a pleasant clicky, or just it's something that just distracts?
It's not distracting either. How do you and it isn't unpleasant. You just barely even pay any attention to the clicking. It's just doing it, and it's doing something like the NLP with your brain. And then I would just sit there and focus on whatever he told me to focus on. And it's funny because as you would do it, no pain. There's nothing any bad about it. The only bad about it, I suppose, would be the price of the session. It's not that expensive. And if you follow simply the Jan Van Zant, you should be writing "Thank you for giving me whatever" on every check or whatever you write. Gratitude for giving the service I'm paying for, rather than going, "Oh, why does this cost so much?" Gratitude, thank you.
And my favorite,
100 and whatever.
My favorite thing with paying people is that I'm allowing them to get to do more of it. That's the way I always like to view it. Or giving donations. I see the child getting whatever we sent to them, kind of thing, and it just it gives it more of a, what is that there's a word for it. You can feel it, see it, touch it, you're experiencing it. So powerful.
That's really smart of you. That's really smart of you. My happiest Christmas gift I ever gave anybody, I did that, where just as luck had it, I heard about what happened when they opened it. And because I heard that, it made me much more than normal do exactly what you're saying. And oh my God, the happiness and love that just, I felt like I was going to supernova.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think you're very smart. You should do that with everything. As much as possible, picture the good that will come out of it. Oh, I know I did think that way with my contractors too, as I was,
Right. Can you share that story? Because it's a really fun story.
Which story?
With the fence. The fence? Do you remember the fence?
The fence. Yes, the difference in attitude. I mean, it's really funny. And people have such a bad attitude with contractors. I had these contractors. I've had a lot of work done on my house. Napa had an earthquake a year ago, August. At the time of the earthquake, my foundation was already shot. I already knew that I needed a new foundation. And I had already set up an appointment to do it, right? I had gotten the money and I was going to have my new foundation. The contractors that did the foundation, I have since done the foundation. I've remodeled the kitchen, remodeled the bathroom. I've refinished some floors, put in solar, completely redid the electrical and the plumbing. I've done a lot of work. And it's funny because all along the way, I've very much taken the tact of trust. Right. And every time, they're contractors. It takes a long time. They're frequently like hairdressers now. If you're getting your hair cut, they're probably perming somebody's hair, coloring somebody's hair, and blow drying somebody's hair at the same time. Right. So you just, or dentists do the same thing now too. A little bit of your teeth, a little bit of their teeth, you just have to be patient and go with it. Right. And I tended to try to look at it that these delays made me refine my vision of what I wanted. Every time there was a delay, things came out more specific to exactly my taste, right? Things happened that were opportunities every time. So the same contractors, I needed a new fence, right? And they'd already done some fence on the one side, but we needed a new fence on the other side. And some friends also needed a fence. And they had actually contacted them first on the fence, right? They had already finished all the work they were doing at my house, and they were going to be working on my friend's fence, and they were going to be working on my fence. And they were getting the wood from the same order, right? And they were having problems getting the wood. And my friend, of course, when you have a fence, you have the fence because that area borders somebody else. So there's never only one property kind of involved in a fence. Kind of. Mine there was, because we just did it. If the neighbor wanted to donate money to it, good. If he didn't, it still needs a new fence. You have dogs. I don't want them.
Yeah.
Blackberries either, but what are you going to do? But so you have neighbors when you have a fence. My friend's neighbor was really, 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 really contractor suspicious. Really, and they're dicking us around and And so they actually ended up getting their fence. It was like maybe a week later than the contractors had promised it, but earlier than it was supposed to happen because they used cheaper materials, right? We were waiting on these materials, and they got a lesser wood than the wood the contractor wanted to use just to get it over with. Right? Meanwhile, I'm sitting on my side, and it's like, yeah, okay, so it's taking a month instead of a week. It's going to be good. They do a good job. It always works out to my benefit, right? But they're all, she's antsy because he's antsy. It's a mess over there. They get it done, right? That was like on a Friday. The following Monday, that wood that was going to take whatever long, once they're out of the queue and Miss whatever happens on good attitude comes up, my fence was done that Monday. So despite the fact I was supposed to wait like a month later, it was like 2 days later with no, but just like, okay, whatever. So, I have that happen over and over and over and over. If you let go of trying to control things, and just expect the good things to happen, expect it to all work out, by God, it does.
And I do think that ties into what am I worth? The self-worth. Where is this coming from? Where is this, I gotta have it this way, coming from? Where are we in that space?
Once in a while, when you're at a therapist, once in a while, things come out of your mouth and you see them react, and they're like, oh, she gets it. She's learned something. And one of the ones that I always knew, but you don't get brave enough to say, and I said it in that therapy, and I saw him go, and so I'm going to say it here. When you have no self-worth, everything is a comment about your self-worth. To you.
Everything
when you have
out there.
What?
You mean everything that we're commenting out there? Really,
but it's not just comments. It's not just comments, because when you have no self-worth, it's the same thing as self-love. You keep looking for that validation. You're looking for somebody else to you say, yes, you are, worthy, right? Well, you just are worthy. So you buy a lottery ticket, you don't win. I didn't deserve it anyway. It always comes back to some self-deprecating, I wasn't good enough anyway. Over and over and over. I missed that light. That person cut me off. I didn't get the promotion. Somebody else got the last chicken salad. And a lot of these things, so what? It has nothing to do with your worth.
Right.
It probably has to do with the person who got the last chicken salad. That chicken salad has salmonella, and your life was just saved. You're worth a lot.
Right. And and that's a really important thing. We don't want to think bad for other people, but at the same time, what a beautiful thing. Change the story. Change the story. That person, I missed the light because that person had to go to the hospital, right?
Right. Or every red light stopped you from an accident that may have killed you and 10 other people. So I'm happy sitting here singing to my song.
Woo! She's exactly into that music thing.
I I had one time, and I mean, this is beautiful. These are the moments that transcend self-worth and all that worrying about it, right? I'm sitting at a light, one of those stop signs where, stoplights where you're like, okay, I would have died if I'd gone up there. And it was back. It wasn't actually Happy. I was going to say it was Pharrell Williams' Happy, but it wasn't. No, it was that Marvin or Martin Solveig's or whatever, Hello. And so I cranked it. It's on my playlist, and I cranked it.
Wow.
And I'm singing and dancing at the red light. And a guy actually slowed up, and he stopped parallel to me. And we had this wonderful moment where we're both like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And then the light changed and we moved on. But I mean, those are these beautiful synchronicities.
That's beautiful. And there's one thing I have to also add on that is that I am guilty of getting into that mode, but still in the anger place. And now it's like we have to, okay, because
Explain.
I'm forcing it. I'm much better now, but I used to do something similar where I was like, well, fine, I'm happy anyway. See, it was that kind of attitude. So I'm acting it out, but I'm really ticked off inside still. So the emotion of like what you're doing is so valuable, and you can fake it till you make it. But to know, like, well, where are you? Where are you really feeling? Be in it. Lean into where you're trying to go, and be authentic with it.
The thing that changed things for me, and I don't hear a lot of people say this, but okay, the meditation and becoming the observer, right? Okay, only you really are in your head, and you've got all those limiting beliefs and so forth that cause what you think and feel, right? Why would you ever be mad at anybody else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they don't even know what's going on over there.
You're simply laying your own script on them. Mm-hmm. So it's better to go, why am I mad? It's exactly that thing, looking back at the moments when I didn't feel good, and it's like, okay, this is why I didn't feel good, but what, you know what I mean? And looking at the bigger picture, because every time you don't feel good, it's your reaction to something. So better to look at that than try to change the other people, than try to, with the other people, you basically just have to decide I suppose you have to decide, can you be around them and still love them unconditionally? Or do you have to love them unconditionally from afar? In your life, or just still in the world?
That was something I actually experienced last night. There was a case of an actor who served time in jail, came out, I'll try to make this short. He bought a boat, killed the people, almost got away with it. It's horrific. And I love the people, we're compassionate people. We love these people that we feel so bad for. What a horrific thing that could have happened to them. He threw them off with an anchor. It was just horrible. Now, mind you, my husband's freaking out. And because it's horrific. And I'm like, remember, this happened years ago. They're not suffering anymore. Now we're going through the motions of reenacting it in our experience with the TV set. So be careful with that. But as much as I love those beautiful people that lost their lives, I had to develop a love for the person that did it, because he is an actor. And I thought, he's probably not even all here. He might think he's in a movie. So there's this compassion I started feeling for this person, because in my own belief system, I don't believe in death. And I believe we're experiencing all this. It's our minds that tell us when we're experiencing pain or a threat, all this kind of thing. And they're already transitioned into something else. And this person is experiencing what he's experiencing. Everybody, it's again coming back to the soul plan, the teaching kind of thing. So I was coming from a compassionate place. And this is why I kept thinking, these are the people I need to help, not judge. Help, not judge. Help, not judge. To help them so they can be free of the madness that might be causing them to keep doing these things that program in them. Right. Anyway, that's it.
I I don't know. I tend to look at it a little differently. It's interesting. And I do think we're living in a time where I personally am living in a time of where things are going to change a lot, I think. They've already been changing a lot, but I think in the world we're going to see some changes. And I think there's definitely something going on with the whole gun thing. I tend to, on my Facebook feed, which is where I tend to get my news mostly, unless I go specifically for stock news. And that's part of the thing with Empire Kred. I do trade stocks anyway. But on my Facebook feed, I can tell when a shooting has happened, because I will be hit by this barrage of gun support memes before anything about the shooting. The exception being the one yesterday. I heard about the shooting first. Maybe it's because it's California and it snuck in through a California thing. But I tend to think of it this way. I mean, yes, it's horrible, and we can spend a lot of time feeling horrible for the horrible things that happen to people in the world. But it really doesn't serve them. It really doesn't serve you. It really doesn't serve the world. If you believe in the law of attraction, which I do believe in the law of attraction, I don't care how airy fairy people, whatever. I have experienced it in my life. You attract. It's not an opposite thing. It's the same. So if you want to be happy and, as happy as you are, the more you'll continue it. And so while bad things do happen in the world, I think they're only yours to get that upset about when they're directly at your door. It's like, I could watch and after that earthquake over a year ago, right? After that earthquake, the number of things where people came out, oh yeah, California is going to have the big one in the next 10 years. You're going to die. You might as well just crawl in a hole right now and bury yourself, right? You feel awful. You just got hit by an earthquake, but guess what? And it's like, that is not, and doing that, worrying, oh my God, it's going to fall in the drink, or oh my God, this, it doesn't help you for 3 a.m. in the morning when you actually are hit by an earthquake. And no amount of doing that is actually going to pack that, little survival bag, or make sure that your shoes are next to your bed, or that you put a flashlight there. I mean, the truth is, by the time that you have a next earthquake, and I'm sure that's true with terrorist attack and anything else, by the time that next one happens, all those things that you said, oh my God, I'm going to do this so that I'm not hit, the next time, they're all not in service anymore by the time that next earthquake hits. I never know where my shoes are. I've been hit by at least 2 nice sized ones, and I always end up cutting a foot. So why dwell on all that bad? It's not going to help me at 3 a.m. when bad's at my door. And it's not going to make me happier all those years I was dwelling on it.
So it's not, I think a lot of us come from it's going to prepare me if I learn this. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think we think we're going to prepare ourselves, and we don't. We just make ourselves miserable and think, oh my dad, my parents were, my mother was part agoraphobic. My dad, the thing that bothered me the most is when I found out that in a codependent relationship, which they definitely had, that the enabler actually enjoys the person being that messed up. They're getting something from it. So my mother was agoraphobic, and my dad liked it. So they stayed home. They never went on much of a vacation. They never did much of anything. And he used to have this thing, in an earthquake or a big disaster, we could get lost from each other. So we have to have a plan of where we're going to meet. And I'm like, what the warehouse? You're not leaving it.
That's good. Yeah, that's a great point.
Now, they both died from strokes, right? They both died from strokes in their 70s, and they played Fox News in their house. If the TV was on, it was on Fox News. Period.
Wow.
And I mean, that was their greatest entertainment, when some disaster was happening in the world, and we can just be, oh my God, we're all going to die.
Okay, I see. What are you saying? Can you see what I'm doing? I'm romper rooming. I need a name. You said you don't believe in death. That is only spiritual death and not pertaining to death of the physical body, correct? Eternal life of the spirit? What would you say to that, Angela?
Oh, there it is. See,
you
now
found
I got
it?
them. I lost mine. You say you don't believe
Angela's
in
so
spiritual death, an opportunity to death for the physical. Yes, eternal life of the spirit. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I found out why I didn't have the comments down there. I got them back. Yay.
Oh, okay. Do you have anything to add on that, though?
What?
Do you have anything to add on the spiritual eternal spirit?
What about it? It's this weird place, right, where I think a lot about it, but I also think the same thing I think about previous lives. You're here in this life. So if you spend all your time thinking, how did I die in my last life? Or what was I doing? You're kind of not doing whatever the hell you were supposed to do now. So I'm beginning to get some creepy suspicions about what life is all about and what that spiritual afterlife is. But at the same time, even if my creepy suspicions are very impersonal to who and what we are when we're alive in this body, everything I've read is we're very happy in that state, whatever it is. So you're going to be happy. It's going to be good. All the shit that's happening here, you're going to forget it. So just, be that as much as you can here and do good and make other people happy and be a Rube Goldberg in their machine and make things happen for other people that are good, and good things will happen to you back. But yeah, I do think a lot about it. It is just a physical death, not a spiritual death. But I mean, have you read The Afterlife of Billy Fingers? Read The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. In The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, a brother begins talking to his sister after he died, and he was one of those brothers who's the alcohol. He's the the black sheep of the family. Who's it's not so strange that he died young, but you don't expect him to start talking to you when you wake up in the morning. And so he's describing the afterlife experience, and at one part he talks about becoming a did he say a solar system or a galaxy or whatever? So it was like when we say we're star stuff, he literally was in what he was saying. So it's like, if I'm star stuff, so yeah, the bigger picture could be very. If we think about it intellectually, our ego is going to freak out and feel yes. But in the bigger picture, we'll be okay. So don't worry about it. It's just that you don't get it. It's just that you don't get it.
And also, when you hear about people having their near-death experiences, I knew one person, like I really actually knew him. I didn't read about it. He was ticked off that the doctors brought him back. What he was feeling. Of course, there's all the euphoria and all that. But there's some people that have, what was it, Dying to Be Me, that book? She actually went pretty far before coming back and discovered how to heal herself. That is incredible. It's got to be an amazing place.
See, when I had my hysterectomy surgery, I actually talked to Henry and I said the opposite. In that, I didn't want to be hard on myself because it's like, yes, to do that, she did literally die. You know what I mean? She did. She was dead for a small amount of time. And it's like, so if I can't do it, right, I'm not going to feel so hard on myself, because when I started looking at the people who did do it, it's like, damn, they went through a lot to do it. And I went and see my experience. I did have to have it taken out, but the no pain, no discomfort, and I really
have to high five you on that one.
Pardon me?
You rock. I had to 5 you on that, 10 you, whatever. That's incredible.
Not one pain pill. Not one pain pill. I felt guilty having the time off, but I enjoyed the time off, so I went with that instead.
Dissolved guilt. Bye-bye, guilt. Thanks for checking in.
But yeah, so it made it. You made me forget what I was going to say.
That is his fault. That's my cat. That's Gizmo. He's the African brown bear. Gizmo.
I'm surprised none of mine are around, but they're not.
You forgot what you were saying. Okay, your hysterectomy.
But it had to do with the fact that they had to die to do it. You know what I mean? And so I'm not so hard on myself because of that. And I think I did pretty good with not having to die.
Well, We're at 9:53. You want to keep going, or should we?
We probably did good.
We did great. We actually went over.
Let me say a couple more things about Empire Kred, though. So what I did is I set it up to be at that level of trading. Try to communicate back with everybody who communicates with you. Sometimes it's just so light that all you really have to do is hit a like. You don't necessarily have to say anything. Yeah. The program seems to have built in that you can't be too. Remember, it's still social media, so you want to be social and interact with people. Some people are going to like being given credit. Some people are too cool to be given credit.
I just don't, but I feel like I don't relate to anybody. Every single person I've checked out, maybe besides two, I'd kind of be into, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just throwing things to see where they land.
Change your interest.
My attitude?
No, change your attitude, definitely. But change your interests that you have listed.
I thought it was pretty clear. Okay, I'll go check it. Maybe.
But it might be a place where you have, I'm sure, lots of interests, and maybe the ones that you listed don't show up at Empire Kred as much. So if you switch to another one, I mean, I have found musicians on there. It was interesting because you were talking about something about with kids, and since you're a mother and a parent, you were definitely getting some different people than I was. So yeah, what you put in there will do it. And I suppose keep it light in the beginning. You may be surprised. Keep it light. Communicate back, do the missions, have missions. But beyond that, particularly as you get lower in money, see what you can do for your shareholders that isn't buy more shares. Go follow them on Google Plus, even if they don't have a mission to take you there. Go look at their Facebook page. Go, you know what I mean? Go look at all that stuff. And for me, and I was going to say this ages ago, and got distracted out of it. But I am a huge sharer. I enjoy it. It entertains me. It gives me my news, like I was saying. And what this has done is it's given me a wider base of things that I can share and entertain others with. I will only do the missions and retweet or reshare or whatever if it's something I can stand behind in the first place. I'm not going to retweet your buy this dishwasher if I'm not behind that dishwasher, if I don't agree with it. So I keep my own. We have to do that in life, and I don't think we do it enough. Have your respect for yourself and keep your own credibility for you. Sure, other people may think you're a jerk, but never think you're a jerk. Always live up to your own standards of yourself.
Love it. It's beautiful. Thank you. It's perfect.
But so
perfect
I would share, and it gave me more to share. And that's another way you can be social with them. Go look at their other social media things, even if they don't have a mission to do it.
There's just so many people. But you're right. I'll get there. I know. See, I keep coming from a place of overwhelmed, so I go there, and of course I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. Attitude.
Hey,
did you know that attitude is gratitude?
Attitude is gratitude. Well, gratitude is an attitude.
That's true.
Lack of gratitude is also an attitude. It's just not one we want to hang around with. Those are those people that we can unconditionally love if they.
Yes.
Keep bebopping around the world, just your world.
Love it. Well, anything else to add? Any questions? Okay, I want everybody.
Are we going to try to do Gabriel next week?
Oh, yeah, let's do Gabriel. We have a really special topic for next week, everybody. Yay. So until then, everybody give themselves a big hug. Why are you crossing your fingers?
Oh, that was it. We'll be able to do Gabriel next week. But it's so funny trying to find the camera. I
can see something. No, I'm kidding. I see. Okay, big hugs to everybody. So,
what about your mirror, Miss Mary Ann?
Oh.
Or is that going to be on something else?
I see Angela.
She's over there punching the Socko clown.
Remember the Socko clown. You better bring the Socko clown. Can you get a new one? You can bring that.
I know they made an Obama one when he got elected. I didn't.
Okay, you can bring that.
I used to have the dog toy that was Dan Quayle. But yeah, I had the clown as a kid.
You have interesting toys. Wow. Well, cool. Okay, so yeah, next week. See you then.
See you then.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We love you.
We love you. I don't know.
Bye, Angela. Love you, Angela. Just keep saying I love you. I love you. I love you. And